The city never stopped blinking. Every surface shimmered with embedded displays, and every street pulsed with data transmissions. In the middle of this humming hive of progress stood the crown jewel of veterinary science, Pet Care Nexus. From the outside, it looked like a vertical garden of glass and tech, solar leaves, clean lines, and curved walkways designed more like a luxury spa than a hospital. But inside, lives were rebuilt, organ by organ, emotion by emotion, one synthetic heartbeat at a time. Dr. Maya Khan arrived at 6:47 a.m., as she always did, 13 minutes before the automated schedule rolled the day into motion. Her walk from the tram station was short, but deliberate like everything she did. She passed under the gaze of drone cameras and ignored the voice assistant trying to update her on overnight miracle recoveries. The miracles had started to feel manufactured. The front lobby of Pet Care Nexus shimmered with polished white floors and walls that reacted to sound. Soothing music played in response to the mood profiles of incoming patients. Every surface was a sensor. Every second was measured. Maya didn't pause to take it in. The AI already knew her gait, her mood, her micro changes in body temperature, but it still couldn't read her thoughts. Not yet. She clocked in manually, an act seen by others as archaic, and headed for her first case, a parrot that had fallen from a 20th-story balcony. Picked up by an auto-rescue drone and stabilized in flight by 4 nanobots. The parrot was now resting in a temperature-controlled pod, feathers fluffed, heartbeat steady. Cora, the hospital's main operating system, had already administered protein stim and Neuralink repair patches. Vitals are optimal, Cora's voice noted. Suggest observation for 4.3 hours. No further intervention necessary. Maya didn't disagree, but she opened the pod anyway, pulled on her glove, and placed her hand near the bird's chest. It fluttered lightly, eyes watching her. One wing twitched unnaturally. "You've got a chip misfire," Maya said under her breath. "Your wing isn't synced with the signal." Cora registered it too late. An update pinged. Revision acknowledged. Adjusting patch frequency. "Thank you, Dr. Khan." Maya didn't reply. Elsewhere in the building, Noah, her intern, was following Rover 9 through a surgical prep bay. The robot looked like a metallic praying mantis. 8 limbs, each capable of operating independently. In this suite, a golden retriever lay sedated. A bladder tumor the size of a lemon would be gone in 23 minutes. Not a drop of blood out of place. The family watched from a glass-walled lounge, sipping matcha tea while the display showed procedure in progress. Estimated time, 1742. Noah took it all in like a disciple. He tapped data points, recorded incision patterns, and whispered commands to his headset. The AI responded faster than a human nurse ever could. When the dog was wheeled out, already stitched, pain modulated, and in recovery, Noah looked like he'd seen God. "This tech," he told Maya, catching up to her, "it's everything. No guesswork. No missteps. Just results." "Tell that to the collie we lost last month," she replied. The machine fixed his liver, but missed the fear in his eyes. That wasn't the machine's fault. Noah argued. His vitals were perfect until they weren't. Exactly. There's more to life than vitals. They turned the corner into the observation garden, a large, circular room bathed in natural light. Here, recovering animals roamed freely in monitored play zones. A 2-legged cat hopped through a ring-shaped treadmill. A tortoise with a smart shell slowly navigated a sensory maze. To any outsider, it was utopia. But to Maya, the absence of unpredictability was unsettling. She leaned against the railing, watching a dog hesitate before stepping into the motion capture play pit. "He doesn't trust it," she said. Noah blinked. "Trust it? It's a training zone. It feels off to him. The floor gives too much. Smells too sterile. Animals know." That night, Maya stayed late. The other doctors had long left, their holographic assistants sending end-of-day reports automatically. Maya sat reviewing a case flagged unusual behavior. A rescued husky, no known trauma, but refusing to eat. Cora ran digestive diagnostics, dental scans, and behavioral simulations. All clear, but the husky just stared at the corner of the room, breathing slow, ears flattened. A kind of silence Maya recognized from years ago. The silence of an animal that doesn't feel safe. She pulled up the room logs. Background sound levels, environmental pressure, scent dispersal. Nothing irregular, except there was a repeating hum every 2.4 seconds, barely above the threshold. An ultrasonic anomaly from the floor's internal cooling system. Cora hadn't flagged it. It was considered harmless to humans. She ordered a temporary shutdown of the system in that wing. Within 5 minutes, the husky lifted its head, sniffed, and began eating. Maya marked the case as resolved, environmental noise stressor, and closed her tablet. The next morning, Ricardo called her in. Do you understand how many layers of protocol you bypassed last night? I followed the evidence. You turned off a system without authorization. Do you realize how that looks on a public trust audit? I saved the dog from starving. He didn't smile. He never did. We're not just treating pets anymore. We're building global trust in automated healthcare. One flag anomaly can unravel years of public confidence. We're not in the business of making gut calls. Then we're in the wrong business. Ricardo leaned back. You're a brilliant vet, Maya. But this isn't a field hospital in the floodplains anymore. This is the future. She stood. Then the future needs a conscience. Noah was beginning to see it. He had always believed in the system. Every textbook, every AR class, every simulation told him the same thing. Data doesn't lie. But working under Maya was like standing in front of a campfire in the middle of a sterile lab. She didn't reject the technology. She just refused to be ruled by it. That morning, a dachshund named Pixel arrived, convulsing. A smart caller from home had already transmitted his vitals to the Nexus cloud. The AI assessed. Probable epileptic seizure. Initiate neurocalming injection. Recommend neuromodulator implant. $12,500. Cora began preparing the injection. Maya walked in, crouched by Pixel, ran her hand gently along his back, then toward his stomach. Stop the injector, she said. But the seizure, Noah began. This isn't a seizure. Feel this. She pressed just below Pixel's ribs. The dog yelped. Obstructed bowel. Gas buildups pushing on the vagus nerve. The AI misread the tremors. But the implant would have been a lifetime of synthetic interference for a treatable blockage. That's the difference. Noah, you have to look. Really look. That night, Noah sat alone reviewing patient logs. He filtered for AI-diagnosed procedures, then cross-referenced them with outcomes where human intervention occurred. Maya had interfered in 15 cases over the past 4 months. Of those, 13 were misdiagnosed by the system. He leaned back in his chair, uneasy. Down in sublevel 3, behind 2 security doors and a retinal scanner, the Bionex room was undergoing calibration. Here was where the most cutting-edge equipment resided. The 3D bioprinter, worth over $200,000, was finishing a synthetic heart valve for a Persian cat born with a congenital defect. The valve would beat, flex, and adapt with age. It would outlast the cat. A technician named Harlan ran the print, but didn't understand the algorithm. No one really did. The AI fed on data from millions of procedures globally, designing models faster than human comprehension. The machine printed perfection, but without the ability to explain itself. Back on the main floor, Maya was faced with a new case. A pit bull, 6 years old, refusing to stand. The owners were crying. They had lost their last dog to cancer and were terrified. The AI showed clean scans, but Cora flagged behavioral degradation, suggested microchip recalibration, and emotional AI therapy modules. But Maya noticed something odd. The dog wasn't avoiding standing. He was afraid. Every time he tried, his front paw would twitch, and he'd collapse sideways. She took the paw gently and twisted it. Not hard, but just enough to feel resistance. Shoulder dislocation. Front left, she said. Missing scan. AI says no structural damage. Noah replied. Then the AI needs glasses. She corrected the joint manually, applied a cold pulse wrap, and handed the leash back to the owners, who stood dumbfounded as their dog finally stood, wagged, and walked. Word began to spread, quietly then quickly, not publicly. The rich clients still wanted the glamour of the machines. But in the whispers of staff, in the side glances of interns, a question began to form. Was Maya the last real doctor? Meanwhile, Ricardo was prepping for a massive announcement. Pet Care Nexus was being franchised. The model would be replicated in 30 cities over the next 5 years. Human staff would be reduced. Maya was not invited to the investor briefings. That afternoon, an investor's dog, Zadie, a rare Basenji, came in vomiting. The AI called it a dietary rejection from a new protein additive. Cora began administering an enzyme treatment. Maya happened to be passing the bay. She saw the dog's gums, pale. Heart rate, erratic. "Stop the enzyme," she said too loud. Ricardo stepped in from the side room. "Dr. Khan, this is a level 4 patient under direct protocol. She's not rejecting protein. She's hemorrhaging internally, probably ruptured spleen. She didn't experience trauma. Internal rupture from a growth. Undetectable unless you check under rib plate 6. You have to feel for it." Ricardo hesitated. Then Cora flashed a revision. New anomaly detected. Recommend emergency surgery. Ricardo's jaw clenched. Maya scrubbed in. For 42 minutes, she guided Rover, 9 manually. Noah assisted, retracting. Stitching with the robot arms hesitated. They found the rupture, sealed it. The dog stabilized. When the surgery ended, Ricardo approached her again, but this time he didn't reprimand her. Off the record, he said, "I don't want to admit how close we were to losing that dog. You can't automate instinct." "No," he said slowly, "but we're trying." Maya walked away. Later that week, a cat named Indigo was admitted with mild tremor. The AI diagnosed early-stage cerebellar degeneration, suggested nanobot implantation to preserve motor function, a 5-figure procedure. Maya scanned Indigo's ears. Parasites, easily treatable, $20 solution. That was the night she received the notification. Final ethics review pending. Performance variance report filed. She was being reviewed by the machine. Her insistence on manual overrides, her rejection of protocols, it had all been logged, analyzed, flagged. She was officially operating outside standardized confidence levels. She sat at her desk, staring at the blinking cursor of the report. 37 patients. All better, but only 3 backed by AI consensus. She closed the report. Noah found her in the observation garden the next morning. She was sitting beside the same dog who once hesitated on the bouncy floor. Now, he lay peacefully in her lap. "They're trying to push you out," Noah said softly. "I know. What are you going to do?" She didn't answer at first. Then, remind them that medicine isn't about control. It's about care. Maya sat in her office, watching the sun dip below the horizon through the smart windows. The city outside buzzed with life, oblivious to the quiet storm inside Pet Care Nexus. The notifications from her ethics review pinged one last time, but Maya ignored them. The world would keep spinning, and so would the machines. But today, for once, she had the quiet to think. Noah's words echoed in her head. "They're trying to push you out." But what if he was right? What if everything she had fought for, the instinct, the human touch, was becoming obsolete? Was she just clinging to the past? Or was this truly a fight for something irreplaceable? The door to her office opened softly. Ricardo stood there, his hands in his pockets, his face unreadable. "Maya," he began, "I need to talk to you." She gestured for him to sit, but he remained standing. "I don't want to do this," he said, his voice low. "But the board insists. You've been flagged for excessive protocol deviations. Your overrides are becoming a liability." Maya raised an eyebrow but said nothing. She wasn't surprised. It was only a matter of time before the AI-driven procedures became the final authority. "Did you know," Ricardo continued, "that the system has found your cases, out of thousands we've treated, have the highest success rate when you intervene manually?" "Is that so?" Maya's voice was neutral, but inside, she felt a flicker of hope. Maybe they weren't as blind to the value of human intuition as she thought. "It's true," Ricardo admitted, "but it's not enough. Our investors want results. They don't want unpredictability. The machines are reliable. You're human. Maya, clench your fists under the table. So what? You're just going to let them replace all of us. We're not replacing anyone, Maya. We're evolving. Look, the franchise model is taking off. We can't afford these human errors to jeopardize our expansion. It's not just about you. It's about the future. About all of us. She stood and walked a window, her reflection merging with the cityscape outside. The future? She thought of all the animals that had come through the doors, broken, lost, abandoned, or simply sick, and how every one of them deserved a chance at survival, not a machine's calculation of their worth. I won't let you automate this place, Maya said firmly, her voice filled with resolve. You can't just turn this into another factory for treatments. This is about lives, not numbers. Ricardo sighed, but he didn't leave. He looked at her with a mixture of pity and resignation. You've always been more than the others, Maya. But sometimes being more doesn't fit into the bigger picture. Maya didn't respond. She just watched the sunset, feeling the weight of his words pressing down on her chest. The next morning, as Maya prepared to face another day at the clinic, a surprise visitor arrived. Zadie, the Basenji from the investor's family, was back. The dog's owner, Claire, appeared at the front desk, looking frantic. She won't stop vomiting, Claire said, her voice tight with anxiety. I know the AI has already assessed her, but I need you to take a look, Maya. Please. Maya nodded, leading the way to the examination bay where Zadie lay on a cooling pad, her small frame trembling. The AI system had already begun a digestive protocol, but it wasn't working. The vomit was still coming in bursts, and Zadie's breathing was shallow. Maya crouched beside the dog, gently pressing her hand against Zadie's abdomen. She felt something hard under the skin, an obstruction that the AI had failed to pick up. She quickly accessed the diagnostic system, scanning the data for any inconsistencies. Sure enough, there was a discrepancy in the scans, a small tumor hidden beneath the digestive lining. Cora missed this, Maya muttered to herself. I'll need a needle biopsy. She moved with practiced ease, but Claire stepped back, shaking her head. I don't want her to go through more surgery, she said, her voice breaking. I thought the AI would handle it all. Isn't that why we trust these systems? Why we paid so much for all this technology? Maya paused, looking at Claire, then at Zadie. The AI can't always predict everything. You trusted the technology, and that's good. But sometimes there's something more, something that can't be measured. I don't understand, Claire whispered. The AI is incredible, Claire, but it's not perfect. Not like this. Maya gestured to Zadie, who had settled down slightly, her eyes focusing on the doctor. She injected a sedative into Zadie's neck, then carefully inserted a biopsy needle. Within minutes, she had extracted a sample of tissue. The tumor was small, but it was malignant. It wasn't something the AI could have predicted with the available data. You were right to bring her in, Maya said softly, handing Claire tissue as tears welled up in her eyes. We'll treat this. We can still give her a chance. For the next few hours, Maya worked tirelessly, using both her own intuition and the AI's capabilities. They started Zadie on a personalized chemotherapy plan, tailored to her genetic profile and the tumor's characteristics. Maya knew this wouldn't be easy. This was cutting-edge medicine, and Zadie's body would react to the treatment in ways the machines couldn't fully anticipate. But it was the right choice. After everything settled, Maya met Noah in the break room. You were right, weren't you? Noah said, his voice quieter than usual, about the gut feeling, the difference between the AI's precision and, well, your heart. Maya smiled faintly. It's not a choice, Noah. It's a responsibility. They sat in silence, watching as the days slipped away. The next day, Maya was called into an urgent meeting with the board. Ricardo was there, along with several of the major investors. The room was sterile, cold. They didn't need to say anything to her directly. The message was clear from the moment she walked in. She had been replaced. A new head of the hospital was appointed. The board, along with the backing of several major healthcare corporations, was now pushing forward with a fully automated system to replace human doctors, cutting costs and increasing profits. Maya's time had run out. Ricardo didn't meet her eyes as he spoke. I'm sorry, Maya. We can't afford to keep you on anymore. The future of the Nexus is with AI. It's not personal. She didn't flinch. She didn't argue. Instead, she just nodded and stood up. I'm going to miss this place, she said quietly. But I can't stay where I don't belong. Walking out of the boardroom, Maya felt a strange sense of peace. She had always known that there would be a moment like this, where the machines would try to push humanity aside. But she also knew that there was something they couldn't replace. The human touch, the ability to see the soul of an animal, to understand them in ways that no algorithm ever could. The door slid open, and Maya stepped out into the hallway, taking one last look at the familiar walls of Pet Care Nexus. It was no longer her home, but there were still patients out there who needed her. And Maya Khan wasn't going to let the machines decide when it was time for her to leave. Maya's departure from Pet Care Nexus didn't go unnoticed, though the announcement was made quietly. After all, she wasn't just a doctor. She had been the heart and soul of the facility, the one person who still believed in the unpredictable beauty of life. The next day, the clinic ran as usual, though there was an unusual energy in the air, like a ripple in water. The void Maya left behind spread to the team, but no one dared speak of it. Noah, who had worked side by side with Maya for the past year, found it hard to focus. He found himself gazing at the sterile walls, the automated diagnostics flashing in every room, and the hum of machines performing procedures without a single human touch. It wasn't what he had signed up for. For the first time since arriving at Pet Care Nexus, he questioned the future of veterinary medicine. "Hey, Noah," a voice called from the doorway. He turned to find Harlan, the technician from Sublevel 3, standing there with a cup of coffee. "What's up?" "Noah, do you ever wonder if we're doing the right thing here?" Harlan asked, glancing around at the clean, futuristic operating room, the gleaming surfaces, the whirring robots. Noah hesitated. I've been thinking about it more lately. With Maya gone, it just feels empty." "I get that," Harlan agreed, setting the coffee down on the counter. "But it's all we know now. We've built this entire thing. The AI, the bioprinting, the diagnostics. It's all ours. All we've been doing is evolving, right?" Noah didn't answer immediately. The word evolving felt hollow in his mouth. But what if evolution doesn't mean better? What if we're just replacing people with things that can't feel? "Then we get used to it," Harlan said with a shrug. "Because that's the future, Noah. It's coming whether we like it or not." Meanwhile, in the city's bustling center, Maya had been quietly considering her next move. Pet Care Nexus was behind her now, but there was no way she was going to walk away from the mission, the purpose of her work. For weeks, she had stayed in contact with former clients, some of whom had heard about her exit, and were quietly reaching out, urging her to consider starting her own practice. They wanted to see the human side of care restored, something they could no longer find in the high-tech, corporate-driven environments like Nexus. Slowly but surely, the pieces began to fall into place. Maya found a small building on the outskirts of town, not far from the city's busiest parks, where families and their pets came daily for walks. It was a quiet street, just the kind of space she needed for her vision. But she knew it wasn't going to be easy. The high-end equipment she needed, even the basics, would be costly. To compete with Nexus, she would have to rely on human care and expertise in ways that seemed almost outdated compared to the world she had just left. But Maya didn't care. She was determined to show people the value of a human touch, a vet who understood that animals were more than just numbers on a screen or calculations made by algorithms. They had souls. They had personalities. They had stories. She began working with local clinics, gathering equipment, reaching out to independent donors who believed in the personal approach. There were no investors or backers, no venture capital funding. This would be an entirely different model, a practice built on trust, compassion, and genuine care. Her first patient in the new clinic was a Doberman named Duke. He had been referred to her by a local shelter, which had been struggling with the number of animals coming in every week. Duke was an older dog, suffering from an array of health issues. He had been diagnosed with severe arthritis, heart murmurs, and was on a cocktail of medications that were barely helping. His previous vets had suggested euthanasia. When Duke walked into Maya's clinic, his owners, an elderly couple, were reluctant. They were exhausted from the battle to keep their dog alive. "I know the AI can do wonders," the wife, Mrs. Marshall, said softly. "But Duke's suffering. We don't know what else to do." Maya knelt beside Duke, who seemed to sense her presence immediately. He looked up at her, his brown eyes filled with weariness. Maya reached out, gently running her fingers through his fur, feeling the stiffness in his joints. She could feel the discomfort radiating from him. The automated diagnostics were already processing the background, but she wasn't ready to just follow a template. Not yet. "Can we try something different?" she asked, looking up at Mrs. Marshall and her husband. They both glanced at each other, unsure, but nodded. "Let's treat him with care first," Maya said, her voice calm and soothing. "We'll use the equipment, yes, but we'll also listen to him. We'll slow things down." Maya didn't rush. She took her time assessing Duke's physical state and emotional health. She introduced a personalized therapy plan, combining medication with physical therapy techniques she had learned from years of experience. She focused on Duke's heart, using touch and energy healing, methods that weren't even on the radar of AI systems, but were part of Maya's holistic approach to veterinary care. Over the next few weeks, Duke began to show signs of improvement. He was able to stand for longer periods. His appetite returned. He became more alert, more engaged with his owners. There was no doubt in Maya's mind this was a victory. Mrs. Marshall was overjoyed. "I've never seen him this happy in months," she said, tears welling in her eyes. Maya smiled, a quiet sense of fulfillment filling her chest. This was why she had started in this field, to help, to heal, to restore hope in both animals and their owners. In a world full of algorithms and machines, she knew there was still a place for genuine care. She had proven it. The clinic, which had started small, began to gain more and more patients. Word of mouth spread quickly, especially as pets that had once been written off by tech-driven clinics began to recover, regain mobility, or simply live a little longer. It wasn't easy. The costs of running a high-tech, personalized clinic were enormous, and Maya often found herself running the numbers late at night. But the joy on her patients' faces, the wagging tails, the soft purring, made it all worth it. Meanwhile, Pet Care Nexus continued to thrive in the city. Investors were happy. The machine-driven model was clean, efficient, and profitable. But deep down, Maya knew that the clinic wasn't just a business to her. It was a revolution, one human touch at a time. But her journey wasn't over. She was only getting started. Maya's clinic had become a symbol of defiance, a beacon of hope in a world increasingly governed by machines. Word of her success spread like wildfire. More and more pet owners, tired of the cold efficiency and robotic decisions of corporate-run clinics, found their way to her door. Her practice was simple, yet revolutionary. Compassion-first care, blending the latest technology with the irreplaceable human touch. Yet, even as her practice grew, so did the challenges. The rise of AI-driven pet care didn't stop. The corporations were constantly innovating, developing new equipment, tweaking algorithms, refining diagnostics. And in the background, Pet Care Nexus expanded its franchise model, opening new clinics in cities across the country, pushing the frontier of automated veterinary care even further. But Maya didn't look at the competition. She didn't need to. She had found her purpose, and she would keep doing what she did best, saving animals one heart at a time. One crisp autumn morning, as she prepared to greet the first clients of the day, a familiar face walked into her clinic. It was Claire, the owner of Zadie, the Basenji who had been the first to receive Maya's personal intervention after her departure from Pet Care Nexus. "Claire," Maya said warmly, surprised but pleased to see her. "Hi, Maya," Claire replied with a smile, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "I wanted to thank you again for everything you did for Zadie. She's doing great, really. She's back to her old self, even better. I don't think we could have made it without you." Maya smiled, touched by the gratitude. "It was my pleasure. You did the hard part, bringing her in, trusting me when others didn't." But then Claire paused, her expression growing more serious. Actually, I came here for another reason, she said. I've been following what you've been doing, what you're building. And I have to admit, it's impressive. But, well, I was wondering if you consider something. Maya raised an eyebrow, curious. What do you mean? I'm part of a network of pet care advocates, Claire explained. We've been pushing for a more humane approach to veterinary care, one that doesn't sacrifice compassion for technology. We're forming a coalition, really, and we want you to be a part of it. We want to make sure that what happened at Nexus doesn't happen to anyone else. To the pets, to the doctors. We want to take this movement nationwide. Maya was taken aback. She hadn't expected this. She'd been so focused on her own work. She hadn't considered joining forces with others who shared her vision. I don't know, Maya said, her brow furrowed in thought. I mean, I've always believed in this, what I'm doing now. But a coalition? It's more than just a network, Maya, Claire said earnestly. We're talking about legislative change, public advocacy, corporate accountability. This could be the start of something much bigger. Maya stood there for a long moment, the weight of Claire's words sinking in. She had fought so hard to make a difference on the ground level, to give animals the best care possible. But now, standing in front of her, was a chance to do something far-reaching, something that could affect the future of veterinary medicine itself. I'll think about it, Maya finally said, nodding. I need some time to process this. But I won't ignore it. If we can make a real difference, then maybe it's time to take the fight further. Claire smiled, clearly relieved. I'm glad to hear that, Maya. The future needs you. As Claire left, Maya felt a spark of hope she hadn't expected. For the first time in a long while, she realized she was no longer alone in this fight. There were others who cared, others who believed that the heart of veterinary care wasn't something that could be replaced by algorithms. The machines could do a lot, but they couldn't replace the connection between a doctor and their patient. They couldn't replace compassion. Later that evening, Maya sat in her office, looking out at the small clinic she had built. It was a modest space, but it was hers, and it was filled with love. Noah walked in, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Any regrets? He asked, leaning against the doorframe. Maya smiled. Not a single one. Noah set the coffee down and sat beside her. It's crazy, isn't it? How far you've come from where we started. When you first walked in, I thought you were crazy to turn down the whole pet care Nexus gig. But now I get it. You always did, Maya said with a soft laugh. No, I didn't. I thought we needed the machines. I thought they were the future. But after seeing what you've done, I get it now. It's not about replacing people. It's about using the tools we have to help to make a difference while still remembering why we started in the first place. Maya's smile grew wider. You're learning, Noah. He chuckled. Guess I am. So what's next for you? Maya sat back in her chair, staring thoughtfully at the city skyline. I think we're just getting started, she said quietly. The sound of a dog barking from the lobby filtered in, followed by the gentle patter paws on the clinic's tile floors. Maya's gaze softened, and she stood up to go greet her next patient. Noah followed her to the door. I'll be here with you every step of the way. Together, they walked out of the office, side by side. As they moved through the clinic, Maya knew the battle was far from over. Pet Care Nexus might have taken its approach to the extreme, pushing technology as far as it could go. But Maya had learned the hard way that even in a future filled with robots, AI, and million-dollar equipment, there was something irreplaceable in the care given by human hands. And, for her, that was always going to be enough.